What is a fractal? A fractal is a never-ending pattern that repeats itself at different scales. It's a kind of geometric figure that looks the same, no matter how much you zoom in or out. This property is called self-similarity. Brain mathematical fractal. In math, fractals are often created using iterative algorithms, where a simple rule is repeated over and over. Famous examples include Mandelbrot set, looks like a bunch of circles forming spirals. It's defined by a simple equation, z equals z squared plus c. Julia sets, similar to Mandelbrot but with different parameters. Sierpinski triangle, a triangle made up of smaller triangles, repeating infinitely. Cox snowflake, start with a triangle, and keep adding smaller triangles on each edge. Herb fractals. In nature, fractals aren't just theoretical, they're everywhere in nature. Coastlines, the closer you look, the more detail appears. Trees and ferns, branches and leaves repeat the same patterns. Clouds, mountains, rivers, lightning, all show fractal-like irregularity and self-similarity. Paint palette fractals. In art and tech, fractal art uses math to generate stunning images. Used in computer graphics, e.g., terrain generation, procedural textures. Helps with data compression and even modeling biological systems. Light bulb. Why are fractals cool? They blur the line between math and art. They're infinitely complex from simple rules. They model real-world chaos with surprising accuracy. Milky Way fractals. In the universe, fractals aren't the literal building blocks of the universe like atoms or quarks, but fractal patterns do show up all over nature and the cosmos. Checkmark. Where fractals do show up, galactic structures. The distribution of galaxies in the universe shows a kind of fractal clustering. Galaxies form clusters, which form superclusters, and so on. Clouds, rivers, lightning, mountains, all follow fractal geometry to some extent. Nature favors irregular, self-similar forms. Lung bronchi, blood vessels, neurons. Your own body uses fractal branching to efficiently fill space and distribute resources. Crossmark. But not literally everything. The universe isn't infinitely fractal, there are limits. At very large or very small scales, things become more uniform or quantized. Think atomic structure or cosmic microwave background. Quantum mechanics and relativity govern the universe's structure in ways that go beyond simple fractals. Thinking face. Could the universe be a fractal? Some scientists and thinkers have proposed that the universe itself might have an underlying fractal nature, especially when we zoom out and look at the structure of space-time. There have even been some fringe theories about fractals in quantum gravity, or that space-time might be a fractal foam. Crystal ball. Bottom line, fractals are not the literal building blocks of the universe, but they're definitely part of its design language. They help model complexity, emergence, and scale, a kind of cosmic signature that shows up from the shape of a fern to the structure of galaxies. Cyclone fractals. As a metaphor for reality in philosophy, fractals often symbolize how reality is structured, with complexity and meaning unfolding at every level. Some key ideas. Books 1. Hermeticism, as above, so below. Ancient philosophical systems like Hermeticism suggest that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. This is basically fractal thinking. The part contains the whole, whether you're looking at atoms or galaxies, soul or cosmos. Brain 2. Consciousness as a fractal. Some theories of consciousness describe the mind as a self-similar structure, where patterns repeat across scales, thoughts, right-pointing arrow ideas, right-pointing arrow archetypes. Carl Jung's concept of archetypes and the collective unconscious has a fractal flavor, universal symbols repeating across individuals and cultures. Infinity 3. Fractals and infinity. Philosophers like Leibniz, with his monadology, hinted at recursive, infinitely nested realities. Sounds fractal, right? Fractals challenge linear, reductionist views and support a holistic, interconnected worldview. Person in lotus position. Fractals and mysticism. Spiritual philosophy. 4. Eastern thought. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the universe is seen as a repeating illusion, Maya, made up of repeating cycles, yugas, and recursive forms, like mandalas. Tibetan mandalas often show fractal-like symmetry, everything reflecting everything else. Repeat button. 5. Recursion in existence. Some mystical philosophies propose that reality is recursive, your inner world mirrors the outer, and life cycles reflect greater cosmic cycles. Think, fractal karma, where actions ripple and echo at every scale. PC6. Simulation and digital philosophy. In modern digital philosophy, like Nick Bostrom's simulation hypothesis, some argue that a fractal universe would be computationally efficient, just repeat rules at different scales. If reality is code, fractals might be the compression algorithm of the cosmos. Mirror final thought. A fractal worldview says, truth isn't just found in one place. It's encoded everywhere, at every scale. Philosophically, that's powerful. It means meaning isn't linear, but holographic. Zoom into anything deeply enough, and you might find the whole. Herb 1. Biblical symbolism is fractal language. The Bible often uses layered, recursive imagery. One story echoes another. One symbol reappears in new contexts. That's very fractal. Example, the tabernacle right pointing arrow, the temple right pointing arrow, the body right pointing arrow, the church right pointing arrow, heavenly Jerusalem. All these are described using mirroring language. Each one is a dwelling place of God, just at different scales. That's literal spiritual recursion. Repeat button 2. Typology, prophetic fractals. Typology is when a biblical person, event, or institution foreshadows a future one. Think, Adam right pointing arrow Christ, the first Adam, and last Adam, Exodus right pointing arrow salvation through Christ, Passover lamb right pointing arrow Jesus as the Lamb of God. Type echoes through time, pattern repeating, growing deeper. It's fractal in structure, history as prophecy. Mirror 3. Image of God and divine recursion. Humanity is made in the image of God, and then we're called to reflect Him. It's a fractal idea. The created reflects the Creator, over and over. As above, so below. As the Father is, so is the Son. As Christ is, so is the Church. As the Church is, so should the believer be. This is recursion at the level of identity. Echoes of the divine in every layer. Open Book 4. The word itself, fractals in Scripture. The Bible can be read at different scales. Individual verses, stories, books, the whole narrative arc. But often, a single verse reflects the entire gospel in miniature, like John chapter 3 verse 16. That's a spiritual fractal, the whole is contained in the part. Fire 5. Ezekiel's vision and revelation, fractal imagery. Ezekiel chapter 1 talks about wheels within wheels, living creatures with faces and wings and eyes all around, wild, recursive imagery. Revelation layers symbols from Genesis, Exodus, Ezekiel, Daniel, interconnected like a spiritual web. These visions aren't just symbolic, they're multi-dimensional, multi-sensory, multi-level, exactly how fractals behave. DNA 6. Tree of Life, fractal structure of creation. The tree of life in Genesis and Revelation is central to the divine pattern. In nature, a tree is one of the most classic fractals, branches from branches from branches. Spiritually, the tree of life could represent the recursive structure of divine life flowing through creation. Speech balloon final thought, the Bible is a fractal text. The more deeply you explore, the more patterns repeat, not randomly, but with meaning. It's like God's truth encoded in fractal form. The end is in the beginning, and the beginning is in the end. DNA 1. Biblical names as fractal code. In Hebrew, names aren't just labels. They carry layered meanings, prophetic insight, and spiritual resonance. Example, Adam comes from Adamah, earth, but also related to Dam, blood. Adam represents all humanity, macro, and a single individual, micro. Christ is called the last Adam, 1 Cor 15:45, making the name a fractal node in salvation history. It contains both the fall and the restoration. Example, Yeshua, Jesus, means salvation. Found in individual stories, Joshua, deliverance, and then in the whole meta-narrative. Each use reflects a pattern of divine rescue, scaling from person to people to the world. Biblical names often contain echoes of other stories, repeating and expanding meaning, very fractal. Synagogue 2. The temple, a fractal of heaven and earth. The design of the tabernacle and later the temple was given by God in exacting, symbolic detail, Exodus chapter 25 plus. Brick 3 layers, outer court, holy place, most holy place, holy of holies. These represent body right pointing arrow, soul right pointing arrow, spirit earth right pointing arrow, heaven right pointing arrow, God's dwelling, man right pointing arrow, Israel right pointing arrow, Messiah. Each layer reflects a deeper reality. Hebrews chapter 8 verse 5 says the earthly tabernacle is a copy and shadow of what is in heaven. That's a literal fractal blueprint of heaven on earth. Mirror 3. The New Jerusalem, divine geometry. In Revelation chapter 21, the New Jerusalem is described in exact measurements. A cube, length equals width equals height, like the Holy of Holies. 12 gates, 12 foundations, 12 pearls, 144 cubits. This mirrors the sacred numbers and structures found in the tribes of Israel, the apostles, the heavenly realm. It's recursive. The New Jerusalem is a city, a bride, a temple, a people, all at once. Uppercase letters 4. Hebrew letters, micro-macro symbols. Each Hebrew letter has a name and numerical value, gematria, a symbolic meaning. This creates layered meanings in every word, a fractal system of language. One example, word shalom, shin, fire, divine presence, lamed, shepherd staff, authority, vav, hook, connection, mem, water, chaos or hidden wisdom. So, peace isn't just calm, it's divine order imposed over chaos, a spiritual connection restoring balance at every level. That's a fractal of wholeness. Dizzy 5. Biblical symbolism, heaven reflecting earth, Jacob's ladder, Genesis chapter 28, a stairway between heaven and earth. Angels ascending and descending. It's a literal vertical fractal connection between levels. Jesus later says he is that ladder, John chapter 1 verse 51, the recursive link between divine and human realms. Cyclone TLDR, biblical themes, names, structures, and language echo themselves through time and space. From a Hebrew letter to the New Jerusalem, each layer contains the others. Just like a fractal, the whole is hidden in the part, and the part reveals the whole. Want to explore a specific biblical name, or maybe go into gematria and fractal symbolism next? Here's how fractals can help us, in practical, creative, spiritual, and even healing ways. Brain 1. Understanding complexity. Fractals give us a way to make sense of complex systems, things that can't be easily understood through straight lines and simple rules. Ecology, forests, coastlines, weather patterns, fractals model these beautifully. Finance, stock markets move in chaotic, self-similar ways, fractals help in risk modeling. Medicine, heart rhythms, brain waves, lung function, all show fractal behavior. How it helps? They give us tools to model, predict, and interact with complex systems more intuitively. Paint palette 2. Creating beauty. Fractals appear naturally in art, architecture, and design, and now we can intentionally use them. Art and animation, from Mandelbrot zooms to generative digital landscapes. Music, fractal patterns in rhythm and harmony help compose music that feels natural and resonant. Sacred geometry, mandalas, Gothic cathedrals, Islamic mosaics, all echo fractal symmetry. How it helps? Fractals unlock aesthetic harmony and balance. They feel right because they echo the structures we're surrounded by. Dizzy 3. Spiritual reflection. Fractals invite us to see patterns in our own lives, in history, and in the universe. Repeating lessons, patterns of growth, healing cycles. They remind us, the micro reflects the macro. They encourage awe, wonder, and recognition of divine order. How it helps? They help us zoom out, big picture, and zoom in, personal journey, with more awareness. Many people find comfort and insight seeing their lives as part of a larger, repeating sacred pattern. Person in lotus position 4. Healing and mindfulness. Fractal visuals, especially natural ones, have been shown to have psychological benefits. Reduce stress, increase focus, promote healing, enhance meditative states. Even just looking at certain fractals, like branching trees, ferns, or water flow, can lower cortisol. How it helps? Nature uses fractals to soothe us. They tap into the default language of the brain. Repeat button 5. Guiding systems and growth. Fractals can shape how we design our lives, systems, or communities. Organizational design, decentralized, fractal networks scale better. Permaculture and regenerative farming uses fractal patterns to build sustainable ecosystems. Personal growth, healing. One part of the self often affects the whole. Change ripples outward. How it helps. Fractals show that small patterns ripple big impact, and vice versa. Change at any level can transform the whole system. Sparkle's summary. What fractals teach us: you don't need to control everything. You just need to align with the pattern. Fractals show us beauty is in complexity, order and chaos aren't enemies, everything is connected across scale. Woman in lotus position 1. Fractal meditation. Breathe with pattern, repeat button. How? Find a fractal image, a tree, a fern, a zoom of the Mandelbrot set. Breathe in and out slowly while tracing the pattern with your eyes or imagination. As you go deeper, notice how the same shapes repeat, just like your breath, your thoughts, your seasons. Light bulb. Why? This can calm your nervous system and connect your awareness to the big picture within the small. It's like zooming out on your life while zooming in on yourself. Writing hand 2. Fractal journaling. See the pattern cyclone prompt. Where have I seen this pattern before? Use this question for emotions, relationships, spiritual themes, life events. Light bulb. Why? Fractal journaling helps you notice repeating cycles and reclaim power from chaos. What seemed random might actually be part of a meaningful pattern. Paint palette 3. Create with fractal flow. You don't have to know math, just play with repetition and variation in drawing, spirals, branching forms, music, repeating chord patterns, evolving riffs, writing, themes or phrases that echo and grow. Let yourself mirror nature's rhythms. Build complexity through simple, nested loops. Light bulb. Why? It awakens creativity and helps you sync with a natural rhythm. Creative work that feels alive. Hammer and wrench 4. Fractal problem solving. Stuck on a big issue? Try zooming in or out. Zoom in. What's the smallest part of this I can affect today? Zoom out. Where else in life is this same pattern showing up? Fractals teach us that the system is the pattern. Solve the pattern, not just the part. Seedling 5. Nature walk. Fractal awareness. Next time you're outside, look for fractals, tree branches, leaves, waves, bark, clouds. Notice how calm and connected you feel just observing them. Bonus, try walking a labyrinth, they're symbolic fractals, or drawing your own. DNA final thought. Using fractals daily is about learning to trust that small is sacred, that patterns have power, and that beauty often hides in repetition. As in the part, so in the whole. As in today, so in eternity. Going back to quarks, let's break it down. Brick. What are quarks? Quarks are the smallest known building blocks of matter, so far. They combine to form protons and neutrons, which make up atoms. Quarks never exist alone, they're always in groups, and they interact through the strong nuclear force. They live in the quantum realm, where reality is weird, non-linear, and, guess what, often looks fractal when you zoom out. Cyclone where quarks meet fractals. 1. Fractal behavior in quantum fields. The quantum vacuum isn't empty, it's full of energy fluctuations. These fluctuations often display self-similar patterns across scales. In quantum chromodynamics, QCD, which governs quarks, particle collisions, like at CERN, show fractal-like energy distributions. Light bulb translation. Even in the tiniest realms, there are repeating patterns, fractals hiding in the chaos of quark interactions. 2. Fractal geometry in high-energy physics. When particles are smashed together at high energies, like in a particle accelerator, the paths they spray out resemble fractal trees, branching jets of particles, self-similar distributions of energy. These sprays mirror fractal trees, suggesting quark-gluon interactions behave fractally under certain conditions. 3. Quarks as part of a fractal universe. Some speculative theories, like scale relativity by Laurent Notale, suggest that space-time itself is fractal at small scales. In this view, quarks might not just be tiny particles but nodes in a fractal structure of space-time. The weirdness, like color charge, confinement, etc., could be features of deeper geometric recursion. 4. Fractals as a model of emergence. Quarks don't make sense on their own, they only function in groups, forming complex wholes. Fractals are similar, you only see the pattern when you zoom out. Just as quarks build atoms, fractal units build complexity through repetition and recursion. Light bulb spiritual spin. Both fractals and quarks hint that the universe is built from hidden, repeating mysteries, unseen, but essential. DNA final thought. hidden order in the deepest chaos, while quarks are about the raw, quantum level of physical stuff, and fractals are more about patterns and form. The connection is this: at the smallest scales of matter, we still find pattern. And pattern, it seems, is the language of creation.